Welcome to BookBlink, where we bring powerful books to life through captivating summaries. Today we're diving deep into The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, a book that uncovers the hidden forces driving human behavior. If you've ever wondered why people act the way they do, or how understanding these laws can give you an edge in life, you're in the right place. Let's get started and unlock the secrets of human nature together. Introduction: The complex nature of humanity. In The Laws of Human Nature, Robert Greene explores the timeless and often hidden forces that drive human behavior. He argues that understanding human nature is essential to gaining power, building relationships, and living a fulfilling life. Greene doesn't offer mere surface-level observations. Instead, he delves deep into the darker, subconscious forces that shape the way we act, think, and interact with others. The book is based on historical examples, psychological insights, and timeless truths about human beings. Greene lays out 18 fundamental laws that provide the tools to decode these powerful forces. Law 1. The Law of Irrationality. People are emotional creatures, and their irrational behavior is often masked by rational excuses. We all think of ourselves as logical beings, but Greene reminds us that our emotions often govern us more than we realize. From the outside, people may appear calm, composed, or reasonable, but emotions such as anger, envy, and fear drive the most significant actions. These emotions can lead people to make irrational decisions, which can cause confusion, chaos, and unintended consequences. The key here is understanding that irrationality is a universal law. It's not just something that happens in rare situations, it's something that affects everyone on a daily basis. Recognizing this truth is the first step to controlling our own emotions and reading the emotions of others accurately. By doing so, we can become less reactive and more strategic. Law 2. The Law of Narcissism. People are driven by a need for validation, and this need shapes much of their actions. Narcissism, as Greene discusses, isn't simply about being vain or self-centered. It's about the constant need for validation. We all have a narcissistic side. It can manifest as a desire for admiration, respect, or affection. These needs influence how people behave, both in public and private. People may manipulate or act in ways that boost their ego, even at the expense of others. Understanding this law teaches us to recognize when narcissism is affecting our relationships. Greene suggests that rather than confronting someone's narcissism head-on, it's more effective to acknowledge their need for validation and learn to navigate around it. By understanding this, we can keep our interactions with others both strategic and peaceful. Law 3. The Law of Role-Playing. Everyone plays a role, often hiding their true feelings or intentions. People are not always who they seem to be. Everyone wears a mask, whether it's for social gain, professional advancement, or even to protect themselves. Role-playing is universal. It's how we adapt to different environments, societies, and situations. The problem lies in not understanding these roles and being misled by them. We're often deceived by others' personas, the masks they wear in order to fit into a certain context. Greene urges us to be aware of these role plays in others and to look for subtle clues that reveal their true intentions. Learning to read behind the mask will give us the power to see people for who they truly are, not just who they pretend to be. Law 4. The Law of Compulsive Behavior. People are driven by unconscious patterns and habits that they are often unaware of. Human behavior isn't random. Compulsive behavior is deeply ingrained in our personalities and comes from past experiences, fears, and desires. These actions often operate beneath the surface, and individuals are largely unaware of their compulsions. Greene suggests that by paying attention to these repetitive patterns in behavior, whether our own or others, we can predict future actions. To control this law, we must develop an awareness of our own compulsions. Are we making decisions based on fear or desire? Understanding this can give us the power to change the trajectory of our lives and avoid making the same mistakes repeatedly. Law 5. The Law of Covetousness and Generational Myopia. Desire and envy drive people to covet what they don't have, often with destructive consequences. Greene writes about the power of covetousness, the desire for what others possess. This desire often goes beyond material things. It can involve status, power, or a sense of happiness. It's a natural human trait to look at what others have and feel the urge to have it too, but this can be detrimental when it leads to jealousy and resentment. On top of this, there's a concept Greene calls generational myopia, where each generation has its own way of seeing the world, often failing to understand the viewpoints of others. These two forces combine to create conflict, competition, and discontent. Recognizing this behavior in ourselves and others helps us avoid becoming consumed by envy and allows us to focus on creating our own happiness instead of comparing ourselves to others. Law 6. The law of short-sightedness. People tend to focus on immediate gratification, ignoring the long-term consequences. One of the most powerful forces that govern human behavior is short-sightedness. Humans are naturally inclined to focus on what is right in front of them, the immediate rewards, pleasures, or pains, rather than considering the long-term effects of their actions. This can lead to impulsive decisions that feel good in the moment, but can have disastrous consequences later. Greene highlights the importance of cultivating long-term vision. We must train ourselves to think beyond immediate satisfaction and focus on our ultimate goals. Whether it's in personal relationships, finances, or career choices, the ability to look ahead and plan for the future is one of the most critical skills in mastering human nature. Law 7. The law of defensiveness. People are naturally defensive, and this often manifests as aggression or resistance to change. Human beings are wired to protect themselves, which often leads to defensiveness. Whether it's to shield one's ego, protect one's beliefs, or defend against criticism, we instinctively put up barriers when we feel threatened. This can manifest in passive-aggressive behavior, denial, or outright hostility. Greene explains that defensiveness can severely hinder growth, relationships, and progress. To counteract this law, we must learn to recognize defensiveness in ourselves and others and approach situations with calmness and objectivity. The key is to handle criticism and conflict gracefully, understanding that the goal is not to defend our pride but to seek truth and improvement. Law 8. The law of self-sabotage. People often act in ways that undermine their own success due to fear or insecurity. Human beings have a tendency to self-sabotage, to consciously or unconsciously block their own potential. This behavior is often rooted in fear, insecurity, or a lack of self-belief. We might procrastinate, make excuses, or create unnecessary obstacles that prevent us from reaching our true potential. Greene emphasizes that understanding why we sabotage ourselves is the key to overcoming this destructive behavior. By recognizing the underlying causes of self-doubt and fear, we can break free from these chains and unlock our true power. We must learn to trust in our abilities and take consistent action toward our goals. Law 9. The law of repression. People repress parts of themselves, often their darker impulses, which can lead to problems. Another critical force in human nature is repression, the tendency to suppress certain feelings, thoughts, or desires that are deemed unacceptable by society or our own conscience. Often, the darker or more taboo aspects of our nature are pushed into our unconscious mind, but they don't disappear. These repressed feelings can manifest in unexpected ways, such as through aggressive behavior or unhealthy coping mechanisms. Greene explains that accepting and integrating these parts of ourselves is essential for growth. Rather than repressing negative emotions like anger or jealousy, we must learn to understand and channel them productively. This process of self-acceptance and integration leads to a deeper understanding of our true selves and ultimately to greater emotional intelligence. Law 10. The law of envy. Envy can poison relationships and create competition that's driven by destructive desires. Envy is a dangerous force in human nature. It's an emotion that can poison relationships and cause us to act in ways that are harmful to others. It's natural to feel envious of others at times, but when envy becomes obsessive, it can lead to resentment, sabotage, and betrayal. Greene discusses the importance of recognizing envy within ourselves. The first step to overcoming envy is acknowledging its existence. Once we become aware of it, we can redirect our energy toward more positive goals, such as personal growth, empathy, and cooperation, rather than competing with or resenting others. Law 11. The law of grandiosity. People often overestimate their own abilities, leading to arrogance and risky behavior. The grandiosity law refers to the inflated self-image that people often hold. Some individuals believe they are invincible or exceptional, which leads them to take unnecessary risks or dismiss the advice of others. This can manifest in arrogance, hubris, or overconfidence. Greene advises that we must stay grounded and humble, recognizing that while we may have skills or talents, we are still subject to the same laws of human nature as everyone else. The danger of grandiosity is that it blinds us to reality, preventing growth and making us vulnerable to failure. True wisdom lies in being aware of our limitations while striving for self-improvement. Law 12. The law of gender rigidity. People often feel trapped by gender roles which can limit their potential. In this law, Greene explores how societal expectations of gender can create limitations in both men and women. People tend to adopt certain behaviors and attitudes based on traditional views of masculinity or femininity, often leading to a narrow and rigid view of themselves. These imposed roles can stunt creativity and personal growth. Greene suggests that we should embrace a more flexible approach to gender. Men and women alike should feel empowered to express traits that transcend these stereotypes. Whether it's embracing emotional intelligence, creativity, or assertiveness, breaking free from these societal constructs opens up a wider range of possibilities for personal fulfillment and success. Law 13. The law of aimlessness. People who lack a clear direction are vulnerable to manipulation and indecision. Those who wander through life without a clear sense of purpose are often susceptible to aimlessness. Without a clear vision, individuals may struggle with making decisions, which leads to feelings of confusion and frustration. This lack of direction makes them vulnerable to being influenced by others and caught up in distractions that detract from their true potential. Greene emphasizes the importance of having a strong sense of purpose in life. Once we are clear about our goals and values, we become less likely to fall prey to the whims of others. With purpose, we create a map that guides us through life's challenges, allowing us to make intentional choices and take meaningful action. Law 14. The law of conformity. People have a deep need to fit in and be accepted by others. Conformity is a deeply ingrained human instinct. We all want to be liked, accepted, and part of a group. Whether it's in social circles, professional settings, or broader societal structures, there is a natural tendency to align our behavior with the expectations of others. This can sometimes lead to compromising personal values in order to avoid standing out. Greene explains that while conformity has its advantages, such as fostering cooperation and harmony, it can also have negative consequences. The key is balance. We should be aware of the pressure to conform, but not allow it to compromise our individuality. By maintaining authenticity, we can navigate social dynamics without losing our true selves. Law 15. The law of fickleness. People's emotions and opinions are highly unpredictable and change with the wind. Humans are incredibly fickle. Their emotions, decisions, and allegiances can change rapidly and unpredictably. One moment, someone might express deep affection, and the next, they could shift to complete indifference or even hostility. This volatility is a natural part of human nature. Greene advises that to deal with fickleness, we must cultivate a deeper understanding of the underlying forces driving people's behavior. Recognizing that emotions can change quickly helps us avoid taking things personally and allows us to stay adaptable. The ability to navigate fluctuating emotions is crucial in building lasting, meaningful relationships. Law 16. The law of aggression. People often act out of aggression, driven by fear, jealousy, or insecurity. At its core, aggression is often a reaction to vulnerability. When people feel insecure, threatened, or misunderstood, they may respond aggressively to protect themselves. This behavior can be seen in many forms, from passive-aggressive comments to outright hostility. Greene explains that while aggression can be harmful, it's also a natural human impulse. The key is to recognize when aggression is being triggered and understand the deeper emotions behind it. By mastering our reactions and not responding impulsively, we can diffuse aggression before it escalates into something destructive. Law 17. The law of generational myopia. People's views are limited by the times in which they live, leading them to misunderstand the past and future. Generational myopia refers to the tendency to view the world through the lens of our own generation, without recognizing that our perspectives are often limited by the historical context of our time. We often forget that the past shapes the present, and that the present will shape the future. Greene urges us to expand our understanding of history. To break free from the constraints of our generational bias, we must study the lessons of the past, understand the shifts that have occurred, and apply this broader understanding to current challenges. This helps us gain a deeper, more balanced perspective and prepare for the future more effectively. Law 18. The law of death denial. Most people live their lives in denial of death, but accepting it can lead to more purposeful living. Finally, death denial is a psychological defense mechanism many people use to avoid confronting their mortality. By ignoring the reality of death, we delay living life to the fullest and avoid making meaningful decisions. People live in fear of death but simultaneously ignore it, which causes them to procrastinate or live aimlessly. Greene challenges us to embrace the reality of death as a catalyst for action. When we accept that life is finite, we are motivated to live with greater purpose and urgency. The awareness of our mortality leads to a deeper appreciation for life, prompting us to make choices that align with our true values. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. We hope these timeless insights have provided you with valuable lessons on understanding yourself and the people around you. If you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more engaging content. Until next time, keep exploring the depths of human behavior and let these laws guide you toward greater self-awareness and success.